seeing sort of the way Xbox has gone with all this has been pretty disappointing, and I just want to give my take on it. So, a few days ago, Xbox announced that they would be upping the price of Game Pass pretty much across the board. Now, the biggest increase was to your Ultimate tier. So, all these prices are going to be in Australian dollars. So the Essential is up to $12.95 per month. Originally it was at $10.95. Premium is at $17.95, up from $15.95, so a $2 increase on both of those. PC Game Pass is up to $19.45. Before that's at $13.65, so $5.50 there. But the big one is the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is up to $35.95 per month. And before that it was $22.95, so it's up $13 from where it was before. Now they've added some other things to that. So you get the Fortnite crew, which I believe on its own is like $8 a month. And then Ubisoft Plus Classics, which from what I understand is only like some of the older Ubisoft games. Like, it's not a particularly expansive or new collection of video games. Now, the very first thing I want to say about this off the top is that the prices are being raised independent of strength of currency. So if you're not aware, a lot of the times things will have different prices in different countries depending on the strength of the local currency. So for example, I remember there was a big hullabaloo about when Netflix was coming to India, and they weren't getting the viewership and subscriber numbers that they thought they were going to be getting. And I think this was especially in relation to WWE Raw when they signed that deal with Netflix. That goes out to launch in India, and wrestling is popular in India, and like we're gonna get like 20 million signups because it's a big thing that ended up not really making an impact, and people were saying it's because Netflix in India doesn't adjust to the strength of local currency. But there's this other service, I believe it's called Star. I know if this isn't 100% correct, but I'm just trying to ballpark this. And Star gives them like basically HBO Max and some other things, and apparently WWE used to be on there as well. But the Star is the equivalent of like $4 per month, which in India, where your median income is far lower, is a lot more doable. But Netflix is still the same price. It's like $20 per month, and so people just can't afford to do that, so they're not signing up. And you see that with a lot of games. This is why I have a VPN, and I have Steam accounts in different regions. I have an Indonesian Steam account, both because I can get certain region-locked games that I'm not able to buy in Australia or the United States, where my other two Steam accounts are. Most notably, Professional Baseball Spirits. That's a Japanese language game, and they have it region locked to Southeast Asia. But then also the games are cheaper because the Indonesian currency isn't as strong, and median income is lower. So a game that's $40 US might only be the equivalent of like $20 US on the Indonesian Steam store. But Game Pass, Xbox here is doing what Netflix has done in India, and they're not adjusting the price of the service to accommodate strength of currency, the income levels of the areas, things like that. And I was seeing some comments from people. One that stuck out to me was somebody who lives in Brazil, and they were saying like now in Brazil the price of Game Pass Ultimate is basically like an entire day's wages or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. This was a few days ago I was reading all this, and it feels like that is, Xbox was already making that mistake. Because like I said, it was $22.95 Australian. I think that's like 15-ish USD. So they already weren't adjusting that, and I understand that they weren't in other countries as well. So just on that alone, they're going to be pricing people out, and we have seen an increase in cancellations. But then as part of this whole thing, like, I'm trying to sell people like, oh, the price has gone up, but we're gonna give you Fortnite Crew, we're gonna give you this Ubisoft Plus Classic. The value proposition with Game Pass was already one where the less free time you have, the less valuable the service becomes. So for me, one of the motivating factors behind canceling Game Pass, even outside of the price increase, is like realistically, I have 8 to 10 hours a week to play video games nowadays. Depending on what I have going on, working full time, coming home, doing all the other stuff, chores, whatever else I have to do. By the time I sit down to play a game, I might have like 1 to 2 hours a night to play a game if I decide that's what I want to do. So Xbox Game Pass, it's like, oh, look at all these hundreds of games you have to play. But realistically, you're probably only playing 1 or 2 a month, if that. And if it's something like a sports game, like I know people who are paying for Game Pass Ultimate just to play like whatever the latest FIFA is. And it's like at that point it's literally cheaper to buy the game. But for me, looking at it, because I had it for so long, I realized like I'm paying this money for Game Pass to play 1 or 2 games for just a couple hours. Or if I wait for it to go on sale on Steam or even buy it at full price, you quickly can just look at the dollars versus time spent, and it gets out of whack pretty quickly. So then in my mind, if that is where the value proposition is, introducing Fortnite Crew to Ultimate makes no sense. Because a game like Fortnite, where you're grinding the Battle Pass, and you're prone to that one more game sort of mentality, takes away from your time to play that, 200 plus game Xbox Game Pass Ultimate library. So it almost feels like including the Fortnite Crew in this takes away from the value of the Game Pass, because it gives you less time to play the Game Pass games you want to play. And it feels like what this should be instead is sort of like a selection. Like, there's like a base price and you pick the pieces you want to get the package that you want for your Game Pass. And another thing they're selling us on is that, because this price increase now, all of your Xbox Cloud gaming will be at 1440p, so it'll be higher quality cloud gaming. Now apparently, according to Microsoft, 10% of all Xbox Game Pass users use Xbox Cloud Gaming. Now, I have tried it a few times. I have never found it to be a good experience. I always find there to be way too much lag, controller input lag. I tried playing MLB The Show over cloud gaming, and it was legitimately unplayable. And that's not like a high intensity game, like playing a first person shooter, that sort of thing, on cloud gaming. Like, I just really can't see that being a selling point. I mean, focusing like, 10% of our users. But again, this feels like, and Xbox has been pretty apparent about this, their new approach. Now, there was rumors that they were not going to be making a new console for the next generation, because this is already the longest lasting console generation of all time, even though I'm sure for many people it does not feel that way, because it took so long for people just to be able to get their hands on consoles this time. But it is, we are overdue for a PlayStation 6 and whatever Xbox does next. And like I was saying, there was a rumor that Xbox would not be creating a new console, but they have confirmed they will be releasing a new console. But my personal opinion is that this next Xbox console will probably be the last console they release. And that's disappointing, because I had the original Xbox, I had the 360, and I have a Series X. I skipped the Xbox One. I got the PS4 instead. But the other thing that, they're focusing on streaming now. They're focusing on, we're gonna put Game Pass on PlayStation, we're gonna put Game Pass on PC, and they're basically transforming Xbox from a hardware gaming company to like a streaming software as a service company. But I think that the timing on this is really bad, because we're already starting to see subscription fatigue kick in. Let me see if I can find the article. So, there was this article, it was done by Juniper Research. So this is what it says. The subscription economy is on track to surge 67% over the next 5 years, reaching $1.2 trillion globally by 2030. Digital video subscriptions lead the way. They account for a third of all spending. The subscription model is scaling, but trust is fragile. 57% of adults say they feel like they're spending too much on streaming. In the US, 42% of respondents report overspending concerns. And what we're seeing as well is this consolidation. Lena Khan put out this tweet. Whatever you think of Lena Khan, I personally quite like her. So, the original tweet here from Lee Hebner. In March 2023, Microsoft will accord Game Pass prices will not increase as a result of the Microsoft-Activision merger. On July 10, 2023, a federal judge whose son works at Microsoft rejected the FTC's challenge to the merger. Selena Khan says Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been followed by significant price hikes and layoffs, harming both gamers and developers. As we've seen across sectors, increasing market consolidation and increasing prices often go hand in hand. As dominant firms come too big to care, they can make things worse for their customers without having to worry about consequences. It's interesting that we're using this term market consolidation or industry consolidation because it feels like a way to not say monopoly. But we're seeing this with entertainment and with other streaming services as well. There's like the Warner Brothers Discovery merger that's up in the air right now. There's the Paramount merger that's up in the air right now. All these companies are deciding that they don't actually want to compete with each other and they just want to get bought out. We're seeing fewer and fewer and fewer companies, especially in the entertainment realm. Electronic Arts just got bought out by Saudi Arabia, and that's not a company in a traditional sense, but if you haven't been paying attention, Saudi Arabia now basically has completely monopolized combat sports and esports. Like boxing is now like almost completely being taken over by Saudi Arabia. We're seeing these entertainment mergers. You have like Disney, Warner Brothers, you have these other things. And Microsoft has bought up all of these developers, all of these publishers, and the whole idea, or how they sold it to people, was they're going to be having all these games going directly to Game Pass day one, and it's going to increase the accessibility of these games to gamers, and having all these developers and publishers under the one umbrella will make it easier for them to work together, and they'll have easier access to resources and all this. But all we've seen is people losing their jobs, subpar games coming out, price increases, and it's actually a really bad time right now in the video game industry, especially in the AAA gaming industry. Things are really bad, and Microsoft put out this statement 2 days ago after the price increase. It says Microsoft lost $300 million in Call of Duty sales from Game Pass, and it says they were complaining, saying like, most of our full price sales were on Sony, and we weren't seeing many game sales at all on Xbox platforms. And it's like, how are you complaining about that when you purposefully bought a studio with the intention of putting it on Game Pass? You can't tell your consumers, don't worry about buying the game, just pay for Game Pass because we're going to put it there, and then get mad when they do that. And it doesn't make any sense. You're getting mad at your consumers for doing the thing that you conditioned them and told them to do. And they're saying like Game Pass subscriptions aren't growing, this, that, and the other. They have apparently 35 million subscribers. Like, if you do the math, that's almost $500 million a month just off their subscribers, and they're complaining about the $300 million supposedly in lost sales. Obviously, $500 million in Game Pass revenue, and how that gets divvied up will be different. Like, than buying Call of Duty for $60, $70, whatever it is, and how that gets divvied up, because I assume a larger chunk of that goes directly to Activision and Microsoft, whereas with Game Pass, some of the money goes to this dev and some goes to this dev. I don't know how it works, but it's just absurd. And plus, this is a game that has microtransactions now. Like, Call of Duty, this is completely pulling this number out of thin air. Probably has to clear at least $1 billion a year just in microtransactions. skins are like $20 a pop, and there's all the other stuff. You look at the revenue on FIFA, you look at the revenue on Madden, those each are doing like $1 billion in microtransactions. There's no way Call of Duty isn't doing comparable to that, if not more. And it just feels so, like, short-sighted to complain about, oh, 300 million in lost sales. Like, who cares about 300 million in lost sales? You could be giving away the game for free and you'd still make money on it because of the microtransactions. Like, that's literally what Fortnite does. And I guarantee you Fortnite is generating more revenue than Call of Duty, and they're not charging for the game itself. So, yeah, this whole thing, especially the lack of, so Xbox bought up all of these publishers and developers, and then the games they're putting out either have been subpar or like non-existent. Some of these studios they bought up just have not done anything. And especially their first party exclusive titles have not been good. Like, in any of them, any of the exclusives to Xbox I've been able to play on PC and get on PC. Like, oh, we have Bethesda exclusive now, so like in Starfield, like I can get Starfield and Indiana Jones Never on Steam, on PC. And, but you know what I can't get on Steam? I can't get Ghost of Yodai until like a year or two later when they finally end up releasing it. Like, so for me, it seems very obvious that I'm gonna be getting a PlayStation moving forward because they actually seem to moderately care more about the people that are supporting their platform than Xbox does. Just looking at the facts, like, you know what's in front of me. Because, like, if Microsoft is trying to transition to this whole subscription model, I'm somebody who's actively trying to cut subscriptions out of my life. I have too many subscriptions to things. Really, I only need, like, Netflix and HBO Max, and I'm happy. Realistically, I don't need anything other than that. I still have a few other things I do have. I have Disney at the moment as well. Because, like, AW's on Disney, and ESPN's on Disney. But if ESPN gets taken off Disney Plus in Australia, I cut it without feeling anything. And so if Xbox is going to try to, like, turn this into a whole subscription model instead of, like, a gaming-first model, I'll stick to Steam and my Steam sale and games going 60, 70, 80% off to buy them. Like, I have no worries about that whatsoever. I don't know, this wasn't a super focused video, just something that's been on my mind a little bit. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this every single week. Till next time, guys.